Welcome to episode 20 of the Women Inspired podcast, where you're going to find out just how powerful you are. Welcome to the Women Inspired podcast. I'm your host, April Seifert. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who is inspired to action, and that's my number one goal, to inspire you, my listeners, to take action in your lives. Each week, I get to interview some of the most inspiring women, and I'm bringing those interviews to you. Let's do it. Shawntan Howell was known for wearing t-shirts with inspirational quotes and messages, and she loved the way they made her feel. Her aha moment came when she realized that creating her own line of products featuring positive messaging for girls and young women could help them to be confident, make positive decisions, and exhibit responsible behaviors. She first designed a Girls Are Powerful t-shirt, and that led to a variety of inspirational products, including shirts, bags, wristbands, notebooks, and more. Shawntan is now the executive director of Girls Are Powerful, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to help support and create a generation of girls and young women who are confident, maintain positive relationships, make positive decisions, and exhibit responsible behaviors by embracing their power. Well, guys, I am really excited to welcome Shawntan to the podcast today. Shawntan, welcome.
Hey, April. Thank you for having me today.
So help us get to know you a little bit. Tell us about yourself, where you grew up, your family, all of that good stuff.
Okay. I'm Shawntan Howell. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I was born and raised in Chicago. After graduating high school, I attended the University of Minnesota Morris, where I majored in computer science and statistics. It was a total different change of pace for me, coming from Chicago to a small town. But let the record show, I wouldn't change a thing other than having a car, so I can move around a little bit more. After graduating the U, I came to the city, and I started working for the state of Minnesota on their technology project that they had going on. And I've been in Minnesota ever since. And I am living, I am growing, I am learning, and I'm enjoying myself here in Minnesota as I journey. I take this journey that Girls Are Powerful has put me on. So thank you for having me.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you are up to now, because I found you via a very cool project that you're working on, and I'm excited to kind of dig into that today. So tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Okay, so I am the founder and executive director of an organization called Girls Are Powerful. Girls Are Powerful is this idea that came to me over 3 years ago. One day when I was sitting talking to my daughter when she was 10, and one of the things she said to me was someone in her classroom called her out of her name or said something that was really negative to her. And in that moment, I reflected back to when I was in fourth grade and how I felt being the tallest in the classroom, and how sometimes kids can be really, really mean. And for me personally, that's something that I carried with myself, through a good portion of my life. And seeing this kind of unfold right in front of me, start to unfold, I should say, I really stopped and really tried to think of a way that I can reverse or encourage her to own her power or not repeat the same thing that I experienced growing up. And so in that moment, I looked at her and I told her that she's beautiful, she's smart, she's confident, she's unique, she's determined. And all of that means that she's powerful. And so I designed a T-shirt for her that said, "Girls are powerful, owning my power and using it wisely." And it just really started with a T-shirt. I know how I was feeling when I was wearing a Nike Just Do It T-shirt. It kind of gave me that energy, that that oomph to do or go to the next step in the different things that I wanted to do. So I wanted her to have that same feeling that when she was faced with a challenge or something like that, she can read her shirt or be reminded by her shirt that she's powerful and she can do she can do whatever she wanted to put her mind to. And so that weekend, I designed a T-shirt and couldn't wait to get it because I was just so excited about this idea. I mean, I had no clue what I was doing. I just knew I had to do something just to kind of, encourage my daughter and make sure that she's loving herself, and I create that foundation for her to know what it means to love yourself and to know that regardless of what people say about you outside of your comfort zone, which is your home, that you don't have to let that in. You can choose what to let in and what not to let in. And so I got the shirt back and she wore it to school, and I must say that she wouldn't take it off. I mean, she got so many different compliments. It started conversations. And it also helped her. I mean, thinking about when Wonder Woman has on her garb, I don't know what to call it, or when Superman put on his super suit, it's just it deflects. It's kind of this power thing, and that's what I wanted for her. And so when I created this T-shirt, I remember reaching out to friends and just saying, "Hey, look what I created." I had no clue what it would evolve to. But I ended up creating additional materials because I realized that I can always inspire my daughter and encourage her, but to really make a true impact, I really needed to kind of talk or do something additional to encourage other girls around her. Because my whole vision was, when you hear the words, girls are powerful, you know that I'm talking about you, and it has nothing to do with anybody around you. And you should know that you are powerful, beautiful, smart, confident, unique, and determined. Which I believe all six of those words are something that you can apply to any aspect of your life. And so I really started selling the T-shirts and a product line to keep girls encouraged and keep them reminded about their power. So we had posters, we had backpacks, water bottles, mirrors, anything that I can think of to get in front of a girl and have them reminded, kind of that internal reminder that they had everything that they need to be powerful and successful. So I really started, again, with a product line that eventually evolved into me doing workshops and community events around the Twin Cities for girls between the ages of 7 and 17 as of today.
I love so much that your comment about how, it all started with a T-shirt, because I mean, the story that you told about your daughter coming home from school and having that experience, number one, it's one that I would wager to guess every single one of us have personally had, whether it happened in junior high school, college, the workplace. It's a lifelong thing where you're always going to have detractors. You're always going to have people who just want to say things that aren't supportive to you. So I think every single one of us can relate to your daughter in that situation. And then also, as an adult, being around young people, you can relate to you in that position where you see young people come to you and have these stories, and you think, oh my gosh, you have no idea how beautiful and wonderful and smart and great you are. But it's so difficult to convey that to a young person. So I adore that you not only recognized that she needed that boost, but that you took it upon yourself to do something that would help her and then started pushing it out to other girls. I just think that is so incredible, the work that you're doing. So you mentioned a little bit that, the organization has grown and changed over time. Tell me a bit about that. You said that you're holding events and your product line, you named a number of things that you're selling. What does it look like today? And how is that different from, in the very beginning when it first started?
It's totally different. I am so excited with where we are today. And just kind of to pick up, I had no intentions of hosting workshops. I really just wanted to, play behind the scenes and, just kind of encourage girls, talk to girls when I was at vendor shows and that's about all, because I was working a full-time job. I was in school getting my master's degree in leadership. So extending it to doing workshops and things like that was never on my radar until one day I was at a vendor show and a woman came up to me and she asked me if I hosted workshops. And as I was saying no, my girlfriend who was there with me, she was saying yes.
I love it.
I'm looking at her.
You're like, what are you doing to me? Yes. I don't know what you're saying.
Right. Right, exactly. And so the woman is looking at us like, so what's the true answer? And
you're like, you have two personalities. You do or you don't.
Right. And my girlfriend, she said, no, you do. This is just kind of the perfect next step for what you're doing. And so we worked together to create a workshop for this woman. She was a leader of a Girl Scout troop. And I remember the very first workshop, I was nervous out of my wazoo. And the whole premise behind the workshop was to introduce the girls to our power words. Again, our powerful, beautiful, smart, confident, unique, and determined. So we created a program, a workshop called the I Am Workshop, where we basically talk to the girls about what it really means to be those 6 different things. And it was really based on the definition, the true dictionary definition of the word, and giving them ways to infuse these words into their lives and use these words to keep them going. One thing I failed to mention was each one of our words has a affirmation or a tagline assigned to it that I believe serves as a reminder to them. So powerful, again, is owning my power and using it wisely. So at this workshop, we talked about the word, the definition, and also that affirmation that they can then use in those moments where they need to pull on their power or they needed to, realize their uniqueness. So I remember being so nervous, and afterwards, one of the young ladies, and I was very open with the group, and the young lady came up to me and she said, if you can push through your nervousness, I'm sure I can get up in front of my class and talk. Oh. And in that moment, that, brought tears to my eyes because that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be there to help and to, have our girls know that they can do whatever they put their minds to. And for me to be very, open and vulnerable with me trying to own my power in that moment, it just worked in our favor because we both learned in that, that day. And that was very special for me because, I don't know, that was just very special. And that just gave me the momentum to want to do this even more. And so from that one experience, I ended up getting a group of friends together to help me push this mission forward. And 2 years later, we are a nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3, and we do workshops. We have workshops that are currently in the school's community education program. We do events around a centralized theme for the year, and I'll tell you more about that. And then we do other workshops for moms and daughters. And because we realize that moms and daughters, we gotta support that bond because they're watching us. They see everything that we're doing, and we have to make sure that we have that bond between moms and daughters. So, over the last 3.5 years, it has been an amazing journey to be in the I Am workshop and having a girl say, I am confident, I am unique, I am determined, I am beautiful. It is such a marvelous experience for me as the founder, just to see them, the excitement that they get from saying these words, but also the smile on the girls' faces or the discussions that we have around what it truly means to be these things. And I know there's this thing about the concept of beauty, and there's this negative concept around beauty because we're so caught up in the way we look as a definition of beauty. And in our workshop, when we talk about beauty, we talk about it from the inner, who we are inside. But that is one of the hardest things that the girls have. That is one of the hardest things, or the hardest words, I should say, for them to acknowledge.
Oh my
And as much as we want to shy away from the whole idea of beauty, it's real and it's affecting our girls. But I feel it's really important for our girls to know that they're beautiful in whatever definition of the word, because if I have a girl in front of me and I ask her to look in the mirror and say that she's beautiful and she breaks down in tears, what is that telling us?
Mm-hmm.
That's telling us that there's something going on with that word, with that concept, and we have to take the time to embrace that and talk about what it means to be beautiful. It's not always about the outer appearance. Everybody has this superficial concept of beauty, and you cannot compare yourself to the next person because our beauty is it's such a personal thing. And so that is one of the things that I found in my workshops is that we have to talk about beauty, and a lot of people don't want to talk about beauty.
What I think is so cool in that, I don't want to skip over it, is that you did an amazing thing that day as you went and did your first workshop. You hear in leadership texts and, all this teaching about how to be a good leader and that type of thing. They say one of the things you have to do is lead by example. And one beautiful example that you gave those girls in that first workshop in particular is the example that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to worry that you might not do something perfectly, because we're going to act anyway. We're going to move forward anyway, even if we're afraid. And what you did for those girls was so, in addition to the amazing content that I'm sure you shared and the pieces that I'm sure you came to the workshop planning to, the content you plan to deliver to those girls, but the surround of it, of just being transparent and authentic and honest to them that, hey, I'm terrified standing up here, but I think that the message that I'm conveying is important enough that I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. That just gives, one of my prior podcast interviewees, Jenny Evans, she talks about when we are open and vulnerable, we give other people permission to do the same. And the work that you're trying to do with these girls, it doesn't work unless they are open and vulnerable. So you providing them that avenue and that safe place to really open up and hear what you're saying, it's so huge. That's such a huge gift.
That's so funny you say that, because I think those are the words that I used when I got in front of the group. I said, I am so nervous to be here, but the message that I have for you is so much powerful that I'm going to push through. And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I told them that day. So it's amazing.
So when you think about I mean, we've touched on it a bit, but when you think about the work that you're doing, and you mentioned, when you started this, working full time, going to school, that is not a small plate that you had. That is a very full plate, very full schedule. Yet you started this work anyway. Can you talk just a little bit more about what is it that gets you so fired up about this? Because again, lots of us have been in the situation where we've experienced what your daughter experienced. Lots of us have been in the situation where a young person has come to us and told us of their experience similar to your daughter's, but you acted and you moved forward and took on this additional and built this additional thing. So what was it that got you so fired up and got you so motivated to do it?
I think it was all about my daughter and thinking about my journey through teen years and adulthood, and I wanted something different for her. And when I am out here talking about Girls Are Powerful or conducting a workshop, the looks on the girls' faces and the revelation that they have is what keeps me going and keeps me wanting to do more and keep our girls inspired. I think it's really important to be that additional support for our parents who may have girls who are dealing with things. And I remember in one workshop, we were talking about something, and a young lady said, "Well, you have to say that because you're the facilitator." And I said, "Well, no, I don't." I said, "No, I am looking at you, and this is what I see. I don't have to, give you these compliments. I'm giving you these compliments because this is what I see in you." So one of the things that also drive me is being able to be that, I call it the conduit for other parents. So when they're faced with something and they're dealing with their daughter, I want to be able to support them in that and be able to step in that gap, especially when our girls, they have the habit of saying, "Oh, you're my mom. You have to say that," or things like that. And I want to be able to, step in that space and say, "No, I agree. I agree with your mom. I see it as well," and create this community of a partnership with the parents to give them that extra oomph or whatever that's called to keep our girls encouraged and keep them reminded. Because I've had instances where my daughter will say, "Well, you're the founder of Girls Are Powerful, so you're going to always do that, or you're going to always say that to me." And it's like, "No, but I actually see this in you." And if we ask someone else, they see it as well. So I'm not pulling your leg. I do know that you have what you need. So I want to create this community and be a partner with other parents to encourage our girls. So my drive is coming from the conversations that I'm having with parents, the smiles on the faces of the girls after they've gone through our workshops, or the many hugs that I get after the workshops, the thank yous, the different things, because I feel as if those actions are creating the shift in the girls. I remember one young lady said to me, we create pinwheels in our workshop, and she came back and she said, "I had a test. I put my pinwheel on smart. I repeated the affirmation, and I went into that class, and I took that test feeling a little bit more confident." And that's all I want, is to have them feeling a little bit more confident, because life is a roller coaster, and I want to give them the tools that they need to ride out the roller coaster. And with Girls Are Powerful, I don't advocate that we're here to change your life, or we're here to, say nothing bad is going to happen. I am here to help you get through those ups and downs of life, and try to avoid all of the bad things. But at the same time, I want to be able to hold your hand through the ups and downs, and remind you that you have everything that you need to get through anything that's put in your path. So that's what gets me excited. That's what gets me fired up is being able to touch the lives of girls, and having them come back and tell me that made sense, or yes, I'm doing that. That's what keeps me going.
That's so cool. You know, and it's something that I talk about a lot with friends is um, there seems to be, and I'm going to kind of bucket people a little bit right now, but there seems to be two ways people approach things when they've gone through a difficult event. Um, some people take more of an initiation approach to the next generation, and they say, you know what? I went through it and I suffered, and be damned, you are going to suffer too. Like, you're going to have to deal with it too. And then on the contrast, there's another group of people who, when they've gone through something difficult and they have come out on the other side, they look at the next generation and they say, oh my gosh, look at what I've learned and look at what I've figured out how to do. How can I help you get through this situation more smoothly, more quickly, and have a better experience than I did? And those people are coaches. Those people are, you know, the people who, they're not telling you it's going to be easy. This is not going to be perfect. This is not going to be a cakewalk, but you can do it. And I'm going to be here cheering for you and helping you do that. And I see you as, I mean, squarely in that coach group of people who wants to make it better and easier for, you know, this next generation. And something else is, you know, a few weeks ago, so at the time that your episode will air, a few weeks prior, I have released an episode from a woman named Jen Hunt, and she does research into the impact that our culture has on, specifically on girls. And she talked a lot about the research she's doing, looking at the impact that this princess culture around us is having. And it really weaves interestingly into what you're talking about around, you know, just by putting people into this princess mindset, she's been able to make women feel less confident about their abilities with math, and it completely changes their mind. So, and the way that their mind works about their own identity. So it's interesting. And I love the work that you're doing because you're really trying to tip the scale in the other direction and say, no, you know, you are intelligent, you are beautiful, you are unique and powerful, and all of the other pillars that you've built this organization on. And it's, I mean, it legit in terms of research, there's a huge need out there for girls to hear these messages. And it's so cool that you are taking it upon yourself to do this work. I just think it's awesome.
Thank you.
So what's your next goal? What's on the horizon for you? What do you have coming up next?
So our next goal is, and this is hot off the press, I'm really working really hard to pull off our very first empowerment summit at the end of this year. And I am working to integrate STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math, into our curriculum.
That's awesome.
I think right now we're really focused on, you know, personal development, and getting our girls encouraged and building up that confidence. And so I'm really wanting to bring in a STEAM aspect to also help build that confidence so we can see more girls in technical fields. I mean, it took me these last couple of months to realize that I am a technology person. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why aren't I integrating that into Girls Are Powerful? I have a background in computer science, and there's not a lot of women in computer science, let alone girls of color in computer science or any technical field. And so my next journey, the next step is to create a STEAM initiative with Girls Are Powerful.
That's so cool. And I mean, as someone who whose real job, aside from hosting a podcast, as I'll call it a hobby right now, someone whose real job is in a technological field, and very math heavy field, it's so important. I mean, it's just not, you don't see a lot of women in those fields yet. It's very important work. You don't see a ton of women in those fields. And yet, women are so capable, and it's changing, but I love that you're helping to push that snowball down the hill.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
So looking back, you've built this organization up, you have interacted with countless families and girls and your own daughter, and you've seen this work really morph over time. What advice do you have looking back on all of it? And maybe it's about the content itself, maybe it's about building an organization like this. I don't know, whatever. What advice do you have for other women?
Just do it.
I love
it. That was the biggest thing that was the driver for me. Was I had an idea, and it was something that has always sat with me. I wanted to help. I didn't know how, in what aspect I wanted to help. And then to have it come right in front of me, and I'm realizing that, we can't have that in my house. We have to know that we have confidence, we have power, and I just did it. I found myself in this dark tunnel trying to find my way, and I'm still in the dark tunnel, still trying to find my way, but I think that drive is helping me see the light, and I see the light. So I would encourage other women, if they have a passion project or something that they're interested in doing, try it, do it. We never know what the end state is going to be unless we try it. And I encourage others to join me on this journey of following our passion, following that thing that's going to drive us.
I actually have one final question for you, and it's a question I ask everybody who is a guest on the podcast. We are compiling a Spotify Power playlist of motivational songs to help keep my audience inspired and motivated all week long. And I have to ask you for your contribution to our playlist. So I need your most motivational song.
So when you just asked me that question, the first song that popped in my head was a song by Mary J. Blige.
Aww.
And it's called Just Fine.
I love it.
Just Fine. And she talks about looking in the mirror and just realizing that she's just fine, and everything is going to be fine. So that would be my song.
Oh my gosh, I need to hear that song, I think, on a daily basis, because I'm one of those people who has to work really hard to maintain perspective. And that is exactly what I need to hear on a daily basis. It is just fine.
Exactly. It's just fine. Yes.
That's phenomenal. Hey, so where can people find more information about your organization? Because I know, given everything you said, people are going to be really excited about it. So where can we find you?
So you can visit our website at www.girlsarepowerful.com. Our social media channels are Girls Are Powerful on Instagram, Facebook. Twitter is Girls with the letter R Powerful, or you can email us at girls, GIRLS, at girlsarepowerful.com.
Awesome. And I will have all that information on your show notes page as well. So for those of you who are listening in the car, don't write that down. Just visit Shawntan's show notes page when you are able to do so. But I'll have all those links on there as well. I can't thank you enough for coming on today. It is such cool work that you're doing. And, when you and I met weeks back, I just got so excited about just the mission behind what you're doing and the impact that you're having on this younger generation. I have a daughter, and she's young now, but I'm waiting for that day when she's going to need to hear exactly these messages. And I'm so grateful that there's people out there who are devoting their time and putting their heart behind work like this that makes such a huge difference. So I really appreciate you being here today and telling us about it.
And thank you for having me again. It was my pleasure, and I'm glad I was able to share the message of Girls Are Powerful.
Powerful, beautiful, smart, unique, determined, and confident. Those are 6 words that describe Shawntan. They describe the girl she's helping, and they describe every single one of you who are listening. It was so interesting listening to Shawntan talk about her daughter's experience at school. That was basically the catalyst for the very first Girls Are Powerful t-shirt. I mean, how many of us have had an experience like that ourselves? And how many of us have had another girl or another woman tell us about an experience like that happened to them? I'm just so in love with what Shawntan is doing because it's just the purest example of a woman who is supporting other women. She's that encouraging voice that girls need to hear. She's the conduit and the advocate that parents need to help support their girls as they develop into young women. And she's just a great example of a mom who saw a need in her daughter and she turned it into a movement. I just love it. I just love it. So if you want to connect with Shawntan and with Girls Are Powerful, I encourage you to visit girlsarepowerful.com. And there you can learn more about this wonderful organization and find out more about her upcoming events. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me this week and for continuing to support this crazy project of mine. If you want to connect a bit more with me and with the women who have been guests on the podcast, I'd encourage you to like and to follow our Facebook page. You can find us at facebook.com/womeninspiredpodcast. And, every single week, I get to walk away from this podcast with an even deeper belief that women have the capacity to change the world. We all do. You just have to take that first step. Now, here's the thing. If you need just a little bit of encouragement to do that, shoot me a message at aprilseifert.com or find me on the Women Inspired Podcast Facebook page and message me there. I can be that person that'll help nudge you off that ledge. It's so worth it. Have an inspiring week.